On the Talk
Turn
of
it up.
Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Yeah, turn it up. Hey guys, good morning. It is Maria Pappas. Maurice, like the road or the river. What is it, Maurice? What's your last name?
Torrance like the street.
Torrance like the street. How Dardick, and of course David Gordon with his bow tie on. We are just jamming this morning. And we got Lewis in the background singing I See Trees of Green. And this was a great week for the office. This was an amazing week for the Cook County Treasurer's Office. So let me just tell you first, we have hit $142,258,052 on Black Houses Matter. We have given that amount of money back to 81,000 people since 3/13 of 20 through 7/22 of 2022, and we are really happy about that. Every place we go, when we go out with Reverend Harrell, who's going to be on with me next week, and Black Men United, every place we go, people are telling us they got roofs and houses and floors fixed and got to take vacations and visit their kids. We are so proud of what we're doing on WVON with Black Houses Matter. I will be joined next week by Reverend Harrell, who's heading up Black Men United. We are doing wonderful things in the African American community with ex-felons who started this charity. So, by way of good news, in Lafayette, Indiana, a 25-year-old gets into a fight with his girlfriend. He's roaming the streets in the middle of the night. He sees a house caught on fire, David Gordon. He runs in. He manages to get all 5 kids out, but ends up with first-degree burns, smoke inhalation, gets airlifted to a hospital, and the people in Lafayette, Indiana, start a GoFundMe, and they have raised $560,000 for his medical bills. So what do you think about the Maurice? Would you have gone in that house?
I don't know if that would have been my first thought with that. If I'm coming off an argument, I'm already hot, so why not get a little hotter, Just jump.
Hey, David, what about you?
My hat's off to the guy. He's very brave, but
Trust me, I don't know anybody in my office who would have gone into a smoke-filled house except for me. Next, more young adults are experiencing intergenerational benefits. That means that kids under the age of 35, 60 million nationwide, are now moving in with a retired person. And it works out really well because they get a room in the house. They keep this older person company, and they pay like $800 for a room, but they have the kitchen, they have the television, and they have a grandma and a grandpa who are taking care of them, making cookies and giving them milk. So it's working out well. It's called intergenerational benefits. Maurice is moving in with David Gordon.
I don't know about all that. I don't know. I'd have to think that one over. But it definitely.
All right, Maurice is moving in with me.
It's definitely beneficial, though. Just thinking about that further, as far as the fact that there's a mutual relationship that's going on here. As far as the older people in this scenario, they're getting someone to help them out around the house and have a good person to be able to talk to throughout the day, while the younger people, they're getting somewhere to live so that they don't have to try to fight this current housing market and try to purchase their own building. Like, no, they actually are able to get discounts and benefits off housing and able to be able to make a living to save up to one day have their own place, or even perhaps take it over in the future. So I think that's a great idea. I think it's definitely a mutually beneficial idea.
Great idea. So get this, robots are everywhere. They're actually taking over people's lives, and they're getting rid of the better workers in the workforce. Get this, within 3 years, they will have come up with a robot which cleans your teeth, brushes your teeth, dental flosses your teeth, and rinses your teeth. And you want a robot in your mouth? No.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I could do it.
Seriously?
Yeah, because most toothbrushes now are like super robotic anyway. They're pretty much mostly mechanical. So this is the next logical step, just throw something in your mouth while you're dressing up or getting ready for work or on the train to work. Just let it take care of it.
All right, let's try this one on for size, because we know you have a young kid and you show him all the time on Facebook. He's absolutely adorable. Baby shoes have been manufactured to dissolve in water after the kid outgrows them. Hello.
Nah. That
Great until it rains.
yeah,
Yes.
that's not really working. I don't think that works at all at all, because kids, if any kids are like my kid, they love jumping puddles, and that's a wrap. As soon as you jump in the first puddle, it's a wrap.
I give all my grandson's shoes away to other kids. Hal, turn up your microphone so we can be able to hear everything that you say. David, get it turned up for him. We are going to switch to something really fun and exciting. We managed to make 740 media outlets nationwide, and the front page of all major newspapers. And fortunately, the Trib, Sun-Times, and Cranes gave us fabulous editorials this week. We did a study which took a year to complete. The head of my research department is Hal Dardig. He is an ex-Chicago Tribune reporter, and he is here to tell you today about the study that took one year to put together. It is about redlining. Hal, give our WVON listening audience a summary of redlining, but those of you listening, please call 773-591-1690. Reagan is in the back. She will take your address and tell you whether or not you've got any money. So Hal, tell me, what is this redlining study about?
Oh, it's about, well, back in the 1940, the federal government sanctioned housing discrimination by creating these maps across the United States, 236 places, where they discouraged mortgage lending in minority communities, deemed it a financial risk, but even denied mortgages to people that were qualified. So we looked at every scavenger property. This is the last ditch effort in Cook County to get rid of properties that are mostly vacant and abandoned or seriously delinquent on their taxes. We mapped those properties. We mapped the city's properties that they're trying to get rid of, the land bank properties, all these vacant and abandoned distressed homes. And what we're looking at the map, and we're looking at it, oh my gosh, what do we see? It looks exactly like the red line map from the 1940s. We overlaid it. We found that correlation was true. So what the government did 80 years ago has brought us to this position today, and we need to do something about it.
Jeez.
Wow.
So let's talk about the four things that we found. First, in summary, there was redlining. So 80 years ago, banks did not give money on loans to someone trying to purchase a house, basically in the African-American community. Is that correct?
That's right, and forced them into really punishing contract sales as a result.
And fundamentally created a situation where there was a lack of generational wealth.
That's right. It was impossible to build that wealth, just like their fellow white citizens were able to do.
So you took the redlining map and you took all of the properties that are on the scavenger sale. And the scavenger sale is all the properties that are left in Cook County after we conduct a tax sale. How many properties were on the recent scavenger sale, Hal?
There were about 27,000 properties.
And what happened when you compared those 27,000 scavenger properties all over Cook County to the redlining map?
The ones that were within the boundaries of that map, where it wasn't rural back in the day, over 50% of them had been redlined. Almost all of the rest were drawn in yellow, meaning the federal government said they're about to become redlined in the future. So they basically halted any generational wealth building in those communities.
So we've got a situation where all these properties that were redlined are also the same properties in the same parts of Cook County that are now abandoned, vacant lots, or vacant commercial properties. But what were the other two correlations that you found besides redlining and scavenger properties throughout Cook County? What were the other two factors?
We found that those, is well documented. Over 400,000 Black Chicagoans have left the city in recent decades. And what we found was that it was occurring in these areas where they were robbed of their generational wealth, couldn't get mortgages, defaulted on their mortgages. What'd they do? They left town. The second thing we found is it's really damaging to the people that are still in those communities because crime is off the charts in a lot of them. These vacant and abandoned properties become sort of attractive nuisances for all kinds of violent crime.
So when we're talking violent crimes in these areas and a black exodus in the community, we're talking major felons. We're talking murders, rapes, robberies, and aggravated assault.
Exactly.
So this study shows how the federal government actually sanctions housing discrimination. Maurice and David, is there anything that you want to throw in on this?
I think it's incredibly interesting how something we always think that we're so far past this history, or everything that's happened in our past is so far, it's such old news, but as how study shows, it's not that far off, and it still affects us immensely to this day, where as far as this is something that happened 80 years ago, and to this day, you're telling me to this day, it still has such an immense effect in all of these neighborhoods. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is. I'm in shock about it, but at the same time, just recently, when the woman was chained by the man in a vacant home, she was chained there for either days
That
or
was a
weeks.
scavenger property.
Yeah, and hence I see now what he's talking about as far, but I did not know that nothing has changed in all of these years. I thought there was some progress, but now we're learning that there has been no progress. Hence, that's why all the crime is still going on. And these properties are just sitting abandoned for criminals to use at their convenience.
It's like poisoning a well.
Yes.
You don't take the steps to actually cure that well and actually filter out that poison from there. It's just going to sit there.
Yes.
It's not going to go away by itself. The
Mm.
problem is not going to solve itself.
Right.
So you can't just sit back and just let nothing happen, because as we see from our study, this is what happens when you just sit back and let nothing happen. Like, yeah, okay, we got rid of the redlining process, but what did you do to reverse that effect? When you do
Well,
nothing,
Exactly. And there's still certain types of redlining that go on today where they're
Yeah.
denying loans to people that qualify for them, undervaluing homes that can't get a decent mortgage. There's still things to be fixed.
no, absolutely.
Definitely.
So that's my-
So Hal, when you did this study, one of the reasons that it got national attention was because you included Philadelphia and Detroit. Can you tell us a little bit about how Philadelphia and Detroit compare to Chicago?
Yeah, Philadelphia in some ways is suffering more. A property there that was redlined is far more likely to be abandoned or vacant than it is even in Chicago. But it was a very similar pattern. In Detroit, where they've lost so much population, the problem has spread well beyond the redlined areas, but we still found that correlation to be strong. So it's something that didn't just affect Chicago, it affected probably hundreds of communities across the country.
So let me ask you something. Which of all of the suburbs in the county of Cook do you think had the biggest problem of redlining houses?
I would say that it was Harvey.
Why Harvey?
Why Harvey? The parts of Harvey that were redlined and a little bit beyond it, because these practices spread. You see 1/3 of the homes there are on the scavenger sale list, or on the city list, or on the land bank list. That means that 1/3 of those homes are likely empty, deteriorating, attracting crime. We all know Harvey has a crime problem. And then they can't collect taxes. And what happens to people that are left get to pay higher taxes to cover everything that's missing.
So the 2/3 of the people who are left in Harvey end up picking up the third of all of these vacant parcels. Now just imagine, because we don't have a full list. There's a city list, there's a land bank list, there's a scavenger list. At the county, there's a tax sale list. I mean, there's lists everywhere. So one of the things that Darnick is recommending here is that we consolidate these lists. But imagine if there's 100,000 parcels countywide that no one is paying taxes on. That means everyone who does live in a house is paying more. So Hal, tell us a little bit about your mission to get a repository of all of these properties.
To some extent, we took a first stab at it in the study, and you can go to cookcountytreasurer.com and download the data and see what we did. But we need a database that has not just the scavenger properties, but the land bank, the city properties, everything other municipal governments own that they want to put back to productive use. So that local developers, people in those communities, people that want to buy a home can go in there and get them far more easily than they can today and know how to do it. And it's not some big secret.
So we, in Cook County right now, if you owe $1,000 on your property and you can't afford to pay it, what's the interest rate, David? What's the penalty per year?
1.5% and 18% per year.
Yep.
Is that right, Maurice?
Yes, it is.
That's
18%.
why David Gordon works for me. He can count, add, subtract. Yes, 18% a year. A point and a half a month equals 18% a year. What are we recommending? What are we going to recommend to the state legislature to do about this 18%? What do we want to get it reduced to so that people can manage it? Manage paying a bill.
We want to reduce it to 9%. And that's half of what it is today. And it's still, significant interest rates enough to encourage people to pay. But it won't, some people that are struggling to pay, it won't allow them to fall into arrears as fast and give them a fighting chance at maintaining their property and their wealth.
So at the Cook County Board, Lynetta Hayes Turner, that is President Preckwinkle's chief of staff, has dispatched her staff to look at the entire study. They were at NACO last week. We are going to be meeting with the president's staff to see which of these recommendations they can take into consideration, because even all the newspapers and the president's office agrees that the scavenger sale isn't working. What's the solution to abolishing the scavenger sale, and how do we go about getting that thing abolished?
Yeah, since 1943, the Illinois General Assembly's mandated that the Cook County treasurer hold the sale every other year. We want them to make it optional. So it's another tool in the toolbox, but we want to go towards stopping using it. We want to do what almost every other county in Illinois does, and that's go to a trustee program.
What's
Where
a trustee program? That sounds like pretty over my head. What would you do with the trustee program? I don't know.
it's weird, but I'll give a stab at
Give me
explaining.
the shirt and skinny.
Simply. But basically, the county takes the lead on the property. It's able to help people pay in the meantime. And if they don't pay and they're letting their property deteriorate, it goes into a trust that's.
After how long would it go into a trust?
It would be about 3.5 years. So it's still a long time, but with the scavenger sale, it takes 5.5. And by then those properties are sometimes so far gone, it's not even funny. And then.
What do we need to do in Springfield, Hal?
Well, we need them to eliminate the scavenger sale. We need them, or make it optional rather, and we need them to lower the interest rate. That's also state mandated. That's not a decision we made here in Cook County.
Would like to give a big shout out to Kim Lightford, who got a hold of Reverend Harrell because she knows he did the program with me last week. She was in California, and she's calling. We're set up a Zoom with her. She wants to talk to us about this next week. So big shout out to Kim Lightford, who's all over this and wants to help do something about it. So we thank you for that. We're waiting to hear back on a date from Welch's office, and we hope to be talking to Don Harmon within the week, because this is a collective effort. It will require the county board, it will require the House, the Senate, and the governor's office. And we are hoping that Lori Lightfoot is going to give us her list so we can publish it on the Cook County Treasurer's website. And incidentally, while we're talking here, get yourself to cookcountytreasurer.com. The reason we were able to give back this $142 million is because people are missing exemptions and they're missing the fact that they double paid. So Maurice, tell us about the exemptions that people are missing, including disability stuff. And then David, you're going to talk to us about refunds, and then we're going to tie up here with redlining.
Well, Treasurer. Well,
All
Treasurer.
right.
As you already mentioned, there's tons of exemptions out there for people. The three big ones that we like to talk to people about are the homeowner exemption, the senior, and freezing real quick. The criteria for those three: the homeowner exemption, all you need to do is own the property and live there for more than 1 year. If you meet that criteria, then guess what? You are entitled to probably around $500 off of your tax bill annually. And
How many years? Going back, how many years?
yeah, you can go back up to 4 years. So
Okay,
even
so let's see if my staff can count and multiply again.
Mhm.
500 times 4 is
2,000.
WVON listeners. You don't have to be over 65 to get a homeowner's exemption. You only have to have lived in the house for a year.
Yeah,
And guess what? My daughter didn't even know it. She didn't even know it. So millennials, you can get a homeowner's exemption if you've lived in the house for over a year. Move on to the next one.
exactly. So treasure, as we already mentioned with that, so not only do you own the property and live at that property for more than a year, but if you are also over the golden age of 65 years old, then
Yay!
the senior citizen exemption, that means that's another probably around $500. So quick math, like the treasurer like to say, we're looking at between the homeowner and the senior for 4 years. That's $4,000 that you're looking at. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? There is another exemption out there, the senior freeze exemption, because that means you not only own the property and you live there for more than a year, you are over 65 years old, but you also make under $65,000. And if you meet those three criteria, then you are entitled to the senior freeze exemption. The senior freeze exemption, that's three exemptions for seniors who are over 65 years old and make under $65,000. So if you don't take away anything else from this program right now, keep in mind the number 65. 65 is your key to a lot of different exemptions for you. And in addition to that, we've been pushing a lot more the disabled persons exemption. So the disabled
tell
person,
us about disabled person, because that and veterans exemption, Corey. What's
yeah,
the
we've been
difference?
getting a lot of questions about that. So I think there's no better time than the present to pretty much press forward with it and say what's happening with it. So the disabled person exemption, that you are marked as disabled, either you have a state disability card, that is the easiest way to get it, the little state disability card that the state gives out. However, you can also get a form signed off by your primary care provider, your primary doctor. There's a form called the PTAX 343A form. I would repeat it, but it's on the website.
Right off the top of your head.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that exemption as well as the veteran. So any returning vets or disabled vets, you can also receive exemptions for that. The only criteria that conflicts between those is that if you're receiving the disabled veterans exemption, you cannot receive the disabled person. So either you get the disabled vet or the disabled person's not both.
But the greater the disability, the greater the amount of the exemption. Is that correct?
Correct. They always take the higher amount. Whichever one gives you the higher amount on a refund, that's what they're taking.
Okay, we give out the higher amount. Call 773-591-1690. Talk to Reagan, who's taking calls. If you don't get through today and the lines are a buzzing, call 312-443-5100 during the week, and WVON 773-591-1690. You can always call and leave your address with Titus. Additionally, we are at St. Sabina. You don't have a phone, you don't have a computer. Hop on over to St. Sabina tomorrow between 10 and 4. We will have someone there from the office just to help you with these exemption issues. I'm shifting to my buddy, my bow tie buddy, David Gordon. What is a refund?
A refund is when you double pay or overpay your taxes for, and you can go back up to 20 years. We can check, or you can check on our website. You either double paid, either the you paid and your mortgage company paid, or sometimes you simply just forget over the years that there is an overpayment or a duplicate payment there. And you can check on our website, you can give us a call, or you can come into the office as well, and we'll be happy to assist you with any duplicates or overpayment. But check the website first. That's the most important thing. For the past 20 years, just go to our website, cookcountytreasure.com, click on the purple box, your property tax overview. And if it says that there is an overpayment setting there, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to go ahead and process that refund for you. If you qualify for it for back to 20 years back, we will go ahead and process it for you. And you can have that check in your hand in 6 to 8 weeks.
How about that? So Titus is about to cut us off. Get to cookcountychurch.com. Put in your address, okay? And there are several studies there. The most recent of which, completed by Hal Dardick, who's with us today, is about redlining. What happened to, well, generational wealth in the African-American community. We're really proud of it. Read the editorial in the Trib, Sunshine and Creams, about how they agree with what it is that we're doing in the treasurer's office. We're here to do this. So I will be on next week with Reverend Harrell from Black Men United. Hopefully we're going to have some news about people who are jumping on board to do something about this. And a big shout out to Titus, who did a great job today coordinating this as a Zoom interview. So Titus, we're rolling out. You're playing Louis Armstrong, and we're moving on. And we will see you next week, same time, same place. We'll be on with Reverend Harrell. Hal, thanks for doing the study. Maurice and David, you're near and dear to my heart. Neither one of you get to move in with me.
God bless you, Treasurer.
I have an extra bit.
Letting me do the study.
I see friends.
Yes, I see friends. Yes.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation. 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.